Kurt and Denette Schaer with the Broken for Better podcast.
And we are a marriage ministry that believes that you can pick up something today to make your relationship better. Enjoy.
Here we go.
Welcome back.
Another episode. Let's do it. But before we get started,
yes,
we need to announce the winners of the May 6th Marriage Intensive giveaway.
I know. I'm excited.
We did have some responses, so we had to randomly draw.
The response was what? Low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit.
That's right.
Those were the keywords, low-hanging fruit. And so we just want to congratulate Danny and Louisa. You are covered. And so we look forward to seeing you May 6th.
Yeah.
Encourage all of you right now, May 6th, Marriage Intensive right here in Dade City, Florida. Sign up, be a part. It's going to be a super special day. All the topics and breakouts are all covered now. We got all the curriculum. Things are in print. It's just going to be a great, great day. So
yes.
May 6th, sign up now. But today we get to talk about family traditions.
That's right.
Which this is it's kind of crazy for me.
One
honestly,
of my faves.
because it is one of your faves. This is like your zone right here. Memories, traditions. I kind of, and I'll talk about me growing up. Like me growing up, my mom made everything super special. So like birthdays and Christmases were really, really special in my house. And my mom was like over the top with it, right? And you kind of grow up in that and you're like, yeah, that's just kind of what mom did for me. Okay, great. But you don't know, like, am I going to do that for my kids?
Right.
And then I happened to marry a woman that, bro, she was about it. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. I just kind of want to navigate all different seasons and kind of what that looked like and different memories that we made, really to encourage you. Like we want to be an encouragement that maybe you pick up one or two of these and then you implement them in your family and go, wow, that's really a cool thing that's cheap, because everything we did was cheap because we didn't have no money.
We were in ministry, baby. We didn't have.
Not at that time.
Well, at the beginning we weren't, and then we were, and we had even less, I think. So
actually, our cheap traditions got cheaper when I got in ministry. They were like, they did. Anyway, so we're just hopefully give you a tool or two that maybe you can look different this year and create memories. So let's start when they were kids. So talk to me a little bit about birthday parties for you, because I think about some. There's some that just are like embedded in my brain that I'll never forget. So just tell me kind of your thought process behind them, and then tell me one or two that you did, and I'm just going to kind of speak to it.
Well, when they were real little, like toddler age, and you're kind of picking the theme and all those, you kind of just we tried to pick like what they really, really were into at the time. Like, whether it was Bob the Builder or, trains or, pirates, trucks, all about trucks. I used to watch this video over and over and over again. And every time we hear the word trucks, we all go, what about trucks? Yeah. So we had like the monster truck party, but we had so little. And this was the time when the big theme parties were just starting to kick off, early 2000s. Back when we were kids, you had a party at McDonald's, did you ever have a party at McDonald's? I had a birthday party at McDonald's with the McDonald's cake, and everybody got Happy Meals, and Ronald came out.
A McDonald's cake?
Yes, they used to have them. And they had these little sugar, I'm dating myself. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you ever seen a McDonald's cake. And they had the hats, and they made all the little figures out of pure sugar.
I'm not buying 1 second of that.
I did. Yeah, we did. So theme parties were really starting to take off, and you'd go to some of our kids' friends had like a lot of money, and they would do these huge theme parties, and we didn't have that much, but I didn't want our kids to not feel how special they were to us. And so that was the purpose behind it.
And I think, and this is really, and I think you said something really key there that I think, like, you used it in a positive way, but can also be extremely negative. This was even before Pinterest and all the influencers came out.
Yeah.
And so, I think about it, and I think so many times there's that you see what everyone else is doing to the level that they're doing it. And so you can actually put yourself in a bad position trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I think what you said was extremely key in the fact that there's a way to create super special memories in a way that doesn't put your family in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key to everything, to go, how do I make my child feel like, and I remember my kids, like I just remember every one of them always dressing up for their parties, run around. They were literally the king of those parties.
Yeah.
And everything's made out of markers and cardboard. I mean, it's like,
well, there's a fine line, because like, obviously I was a stay-at-home mom and I was so thankful that I got to do that. And so I would do everything that I could to try to save money or to, make extra money for those special things that were not in a budget. Like we didn't have a birthday party budget. And so there were times when, as a couple, speaking of marriages, we had to navigate those waters when it came to, how much could we spend on the birthday? And of course, like the dreamer in me wanted to give them the world. I wanted the bounce house and the clown and the this and the that. And we didn't have that budget, so it's like, how do you make them feel so special and so unique and so cherished? And so I hope we did that. But there were times like I made art out of, we would go to Famous Tate and get old refrigerator boxes. We built pirate ships out of refrigerator boxes.
shout out to Famous Tate.
Thank you for the
blessing us
boxes.
so many
I don't
years.
think they give them away anymore. We made castles out of refrigerator boxes, spaceships. We made
Everything.
They painted. We made like a whole entire neighborhood. Because Bob the Builder, Home Depot, shout out to Home Depot, gave us free aprons, and they painted and they nailed and they taped those boxes. But they were like 3-4 years old. So you put 3 and 4-year-olds out there with aprons and paint. Like, are you kidding? Like, they thought that was amazing.
And here's the thing that I think is really key for me, and I'm probably now maybe even voicing this for one of the first times that I'm saying this, and I'm thinking about it. Yes, what they did was very low budget and not the great. Like we couldn't hire companies to come in and throw these themed parties.
Yeah.
But I will always remember how the kids were the central focus. Like this day was around them, and I think as we get, especially adults, like to me, my birthday is like another day. Now I think deep down inside, right, you love when people recognize it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we want to take you out to dinner. You're like, no, don't worry about it. It's just another day. But inside you're like, no, I really want to go out to dinner.
My favorite place is this, or this. Yeah.
So, but I think as a child grows, these are the formidable years where you get to give them immense value based around a special certain day.
Yeah.
And it's not that this defines them and the theme of the party or the money spent is where they get their value, but it's the value of the soul of who they are as an individualized person that you get to speak into, that you get to show honor to. And I think as we show honor and we show good examples of what that looks like, then that becomes the thing that fuels them and moves them. Like they understand that, man, there are certain times. We have people in our world, and it's like we have birthdays we celebrate. I know one family, they have birth weeks or months that she celebrates. And I'm like, whoa, are you crazy? But it's not about the celebration.
Right.
It's about the honoring of their child to go, man, you are the most important thing.
Yeah, I think the traditions for us, and I don't know that we like really clearly thought it out at the beginning, but they were all very intentional. Like the birthdays, the intention was, you are special, you are seen. We want to honor you with like something that is valuable to you. And I don't know, we've all been around families, I think, that, you maybe go to the big birthday party, and not all big birthday parties are bad. They're beautiful if you can afford them, but you've been to the party where maybe it's not so much about the kid. It's not, or maybe the kid's not so grateful because that's just another day in their life. And so there's this beauty in saying, even if it's a little, even if all we can afford is your favorite cupcake today, we're going to put songs on, we're going to put music on, we're going to have a birthday party. We had a few of those, where we're going to have a birthday party.
You can't just blow through that. Somebody thought right there, like you said something wrong.
No, we had birthday parties.
Now, just break that down real quick. Birthday parties.
Well,
because I'm thinking Cardi B was like the main performer. Is that not?
No. Well, no, there was a season in our life when we were carpooling with other families. And so there were a few families, and like you get a few families in. And I remember feeling like, especially when our boys were fortunate enough to have a scholarship to go to a private school, we couldn't afford to put them in a private school, but they were scholarshiped into a private school. Well, immediately you're surrounded by families that are very affluential and have a lot. And so if you're not careful, it becomes this judging game of, I can't keep up with this. And so our boys had a lot of friends, which was beautiful, which meant they were invited to a lot of parties, which is very expensive. So, having birthday parties were fun. You can pick up a kid that you're going to carpool with and get a box of donuts. You're blaring music and you decorate the car with streamers. And some of these kids that had a lot, they were blown away by just the love, that they felt something different, because dreams and traditions and memories cost valuable time and love. Yeah. And I think that's the difference in a tradition and something that you just do, like an act. There's things that I think we all did around certain holidays that were an act, but then there was things that were traditions that meant something.
I think about even having to, the season when walking out, the loss, some of those kids that had a lot that were part of those cardies talked about, those will be the memories that they remember, the cardies that they had. And It's like, these kids have everything on vehicles and cell phones and everything you could ever want as a teenager. And their memories are built around $9.99 cardies because there were streamers and lights and blaring music, and they got to be a kid.
Yeah.
And so, I really would just encourage every parent out there, like going, hey, in those early years, man, don't base what you do upon what you see influencers do. Now, man, the world is so gung-ho with influencers and trying to keep up with them that you actually lose the special dynamic of the day because you're too busy trying to make it an event.
Yeah.
That you lose the moment of the day. Like, enjoy and embrace the moment rather than just throwing an event.
Yeah.
And so I just, in those formative years, I'll tell you one of my favorite ones, and then we'll go into later on. But
okay.
One of my favorite ones was literally we had a military themed party. It was like all dressed in army.
We camped out, which is not your favorite.
Not my favorite.
You hate it. He hates camping. I actually like camping. He hates it. We were in the backyard with like 12 little sweaty 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. I didn't
mind them. I love them, but sleeping in a tent was ridiculous to me. But I'll tell you what I did like was at about 9:30 at night when they're all around the campfire and everybody's chilling down for the evening, climbing up on the roof in camouflage and just start unloading water balloons from the roof.
And yelling, what do we call them? Grenades! Grenades incoming!
They literally thought they were in a world war. I mean, their grenades were coming from everywhere. That was the greatest party ever.
They were running around like they had literally it would look like a war zone. They were just running like, it was so funny.
Just pelting kids with balloons.
That was hysterical.
Wow.
I will say this, though. I think we've all been a part of an event or maybe even something that you've labeled as a tradition in your family that when you think about it, you literally cringe because the thing that you remember was the stress behind it and the frustration behind it, or because there's such an expectation in our world to have these events, to have these traditions, but at the cost of your family, when it costs something and it costs added stress and those were things that I loved. They were kind of things that filled up my cup to be able to do. But there's people out there that's too much. That's too big. And that's okay. Because God created your family the way he created your family. He created you the way he created you. So I think this tier of living up to these, different events, if they're going to cause an implosion in your family because your kids and everyone doesn't live up to what you want it to be, I think it does more harm than it does good. It can.
Okay, so we hit parties.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's go to other traditions. There were a bunch, and I even as I prepared for this topic, and our preparation is me thinking because we do this off the cuff.
I know. I was like, did you prepare? I'm like, okay, good.
As I think about these, there's so many that pop in my head that were like different seasons of life that we created. And one of the things that, traditions was for us were things that we held dear. Family traditions were big for us. But I will say on the front side that I think traditions were birthed when we were able to leave other things that we always held to.
Yeah, that's true.
So, when we lived in Florida around our family, everything was kind of set in stone. This is what you do every holiday. Oh, we merged, we have now your family and our family on holidays. We're going to go here. We got to do this. We got to run here. We got to do this. We got to see this person. And holidays just become this absolute train wreck of a day because you're exhausted. Yeah. It's not empowering or encouraging. It's just, it's crazy. And then we moved away for a year. And in that year, because we literally had no family at that point, we had to create our own traditions.
Right.
And so we created new things. But because we left old things, we were able to create these new things that now we carried on for the rest of our lives with our kids and as we did different things.
Yeah.
And so, but it was leaving that old. And so I'll just encourage you in this next part to think about those areas that possibly you're doing things because you've always done them.
Right. But does it breathe life?
It's not breathing life. It's more of a headache. It's more of a stress. It's exhausting. You don't even know why you do it. It costs money. Think about, man, are there some things that I possibly need to lay down so that my hands are free to pick up and make new memories and cultivate and create new ones. So let's talk about that, because when we went to Louisiana, we created some new traditions that were very interesting to me. And so break down a little bit of theme nights.
Yeah, we had been so kind of ostracized because of our season of life. Like everyone we knew in that environment was associated with the church, with work, basically, with ministry, with the school. We went to the same school, the same church, and everyone that we had relationship with at that point was there. So we kind of got a little upside down with everything we're talking about is work related. We need to just be a family. And so I'll never forget, and this is advice I would give to anyone. When you feel a little upside down, no matter if it's work, if it's life, if it's ministry, I would say make an appointment with your family. And that was really important for us. Monday nights at, I think it was 6 o'clock or 6:30, Kurt had a standing appointment from 6 to 9. And we put it on his calendar because he could consciously tell anyone and everyone that asked for time, on a Monday night, I'm sorry, I already have an appointment that night, because we had to be intentional. Sometimes when life gets crazy, you have to be intentional to say, this is my priority. The first night of my weekend or my week is going to be with my family. And so you put it on the calendar. And I think what we did was fun. But to me, as a mom, as a wife, that meant, especially looking back, that meant more, because it told our boys, you matter. And you're the most important thing of my week. And I'm going to start off the week with you.
And I'll before you get into the one of the actions, I really, especially for those in ministry, if you're in ministry, it's very easy to make everything else your priority.
Yeah.
Every one of those 911 calls and 911 text, I've got to take those, and they're more important, and my family will understand. And if I don't show up, and man, I'm going to tell you this, one of the things that I'm most grateful for is that I learned to say no to people, that people began to realize that my family was my most important ministry that I have.
They're the only thing that you'll have.
And I don't regret it to this day. And so for a young person in ministry, I will tell you, if you're ministering outside of those guidelines, if your family is taking a back seat to your ministry, you are doing things opposite of the way God's called you to do them. Look at Scripture. You see it very clearly, the priorities, and your family is number one. And I know I could go on for days about that, so I'm not going to. I will just tell you, making that a Monday top of my week, my calendar blocked out, did speak volumes that nobody could step on that appointment. Yeah.
That was true. And we didn't share that with anyone. That was our own little family thing, because no one else needed to know. That was our appointment, and it was important. But we, again, we're in ministry, didn't have much, but we had a little bit. We had a little bit of, what do you call it? Imagination. So Monday nights we had theme dinners, and we would do anything and everything for the theme dinner. We did upside down night. Everyone had to wear their clothes backwards. We literally flipped the table upside down, ate dessert first, all the way up to the salad with all the toppings on the bottom. You know, the boys were so intrigued. We had Viking night where I literally bought a rotisserie chicken and I covered all of the silverware. I mean, not the silverware, the plates and the cups with tinfoil, so they looked like they were drinking out of steins, and they dressed like like yoga gear, and they were like acting like, you know, big burly men. It was just really fun. We had fun. We had it was
toga
just
night.
toga night.
That was awesome.
You did. He wore a toga. That's
actually kind of freeing. You eat dinner with a toga on. That's a whole new experience.
So, and even Kurt, he'd be like, "What's tonight?" Because he would start to get excited. I'm like, "Oh, you'll just have to wait and see."
No, time out. That's not true.
That's not true. Okay, I was gonna say.
I loved it. It was always intriguing to me, and I found out at the last minute. So I'm running around like a little kid.
He's like, "Woohoo!"
Putting
We're
together
having
a Halloween costume.
Toga night. We had superhero night. We did all these different nights, but it was nothing more than just building memories. And I would say if you're thinking of doing any traditions, just continue to weigh it with the why. Like, why are we doing this? And it was just for us in that season. We were so focused on so many things, and which is funny now to say, so many things that felt so heavy. We just needed a break from the everyday. And that was something that spurred life. It spurred conversation. I think it gave the boys value. And we had some good conversations, you know, and, you know, you say you don't want to go too deep into that whole conversation about making the kids the priority, but people have asked us, why, how were your boys so close, or are they so close? And I think it's because we really were trying to teach them the importance of togetherness and who we were as a family.
Yeah, we made memories together. Eating that rotisserie chicken with no silverware, just eating with your hands and like.
They thought they were so manly.
Things that I'm not forget. Like I don't forget it. I remember that crap. You know, and that's the stuff that I think is so easy. That's why, you know, making memories and taking time and yes, if as your kids get older, will they gripe and complain? Yes, they're teenagers. That's what they do. But I'm going to tell you what. That's the stuff that embeds in their brain.
Oh, I don't think they gripe too much.
I think we got okay. So let's take it from our point.
Yeah,
our kids started when they were very young.
Yeah, that's true.
So they kind of expected it with you. Oh, yeah. I mean, good Lord, you were doing Valentine's nights and Halloween night. Like every holiday has a theme to it.
Yeah,
you know. So our kids grew up in that. If somebody right now with a 12 and a 14-year-old said, "Hey, I'm going to turn the table upside down. I want you to eat ice cream first and then your salad, or eat this chicken with no silverware." Yeah, you're like, wait, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? But I will tell you, just do it. Because it's stuff that you invest into that will always reap. Yeah, they don't get it, but they'll laugh about it. Yeah, that was crazy. They'll tell their boys about it. You're like, yeah, man, I had ice cream first. Like, that was nuts. I don't know what's wrong with my mom. She done lost her mind. You know what I mean? My dad showed up to dinner in a toga. Like, what the heck's happening right now? You know, like, these are the things that I think you create conversation, but you also create lasting memories that they go, wow, I remember that time that we just had fun together.
Yeah.
It wasn't so serious. We were able to leave the troubles of this world and just be a squad.
And just letting them, like, and voicing that to them, saying, this is why. Like, we've realized we've gotten too upside down, like, with our work schedule and with our ministry schedule. And we are, so, because they had to make the same commitment. Monday nights was, you know, if a friend asked, sorry, Monday nights, we all have an appointment, you know, and that sometimes doesn't go over well either until you're like, this is the why behind this. This has value, you know, and, so we always tried to make value, I think, a priority when it came to that time together.
So let's talk about, we moved back home.
Yeah.
We go from Louisiana. God brings us back to Tampa, and we're here. And now we come back into, okay, now we're back around family.
Yeah.
All of our relatives, our whole world's right here in this area. So it's like you move back into that. As a mom there who had spent a year creating traditions and having to come back, some traditions we picked up and we went back into doing the things we did. Other traditions we did not. We had created a new behavior for our family, and we were standing firm on that. Because I think, you know, there's a lot of times biblically when two people leave their families, you're not joining two families together. You are leaving your family and you have now become a family.
Right.
And so you create this unit now that, yes, you have, you know, your family, but you are a family.
Yeah.
And so when we came back, some we picked up, some we didn't. It kind of all changed for us. How was that for you in creating new traditions and, morphing in your family or morphing in my family? What was the struggle and the tension there? Because you kept doing it. Like, we kept making more traditions and making more memories. So kind of what was it like for you, even coming back to where maybe my family didn't understand your traditions, or maybe your family didn't understand our traditions and what we had created? How was navigating that with extended family? How did you find that?
I think we really had to be on the same page. And I think, for the couple that you might have a family that's a little more involved or might even feel intrusive at times. Not always. Sometimes it's just you've always done what you've always done, but you want to make your own traditions. I think really communicating with your spouse, especially for me, I'm the people pleaser historically up until, probably more recently where I've kind of had to really stand up for myself. But I think you were always good at kind of communicating with me. Where do you feel like this line should be? What are our boundaries? And helping make sure that we stood firm to those boundaries, because we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was healthy. And did we always get it right? No. Did we give in sometimes? We're like, man, we should have kept that boundary. Yes, we did. But I think just constantly communicating and re-looking at what those traditions are like. Are they breathing life? Are they hurting? Again, the season we're in right now, we're kind of reassociating traditions again because there's now a member that's not there. And so some of those traditions actually can be more harmful because they have so much memory attached to them. And I think even having that open dialogue with our boys, just, and their wives saying, hey, we want to do something new. Just bear with us. We don't want to sit in the same circle this year. We're going to try something different. But we're not going to just ignore. We're going to do something different because this season is a different season. So it's okay to say, let's make new traditions that are different, not forgetting what we've had or what we've lost, but the why behind it, because it needs to be life-giving. And if it's not, it might be time to let that tradition go.
Yeah, I think especially this past year, every new holiday, every new mile marker day on the calendar, spurs many triggers for us. And so I think this year we've been even more so than ever going, we're not doing that because we're not going to put ourselves in that place we're already having to walk through and create new traditions. But even in that, we're finding new time with our kids,
right?
And we're making these new memories that we'll never forget. Like, I hate what caused us to make these, don't like any part of it, right? But it did cause it. We're here now. We have to walk this out, and wow, look at now what's been cultivated and what was created out of it. And is this a tradition? Because I think the other thing is not going, hey, we had one good year with it, so now all of a sudden bury this in concrete. That's our tradition. No, listen, man, we're going to live with hands open and very fluid, very in the moment, very in tune to our kids' feelings and where they're at, what we're walking through. And, you walk through a hard time, October and November, it may not be a great season to create a new December tradition. Or it may be the perfect time to create a new family tradition. So it's kind of one of those things of going, man, listen, I'm going to constantly be in tune to what's happening around me. I'm going to constantly be prayerful as to what's happening in my world, in tune to my children, in tune to my spouse to go, hey, when is the right season? And though everyone in my world may not understand, agree, or even support my decision, you come to this realization that the people under my roof, that's our priority.
Right.
That's our focus. That's where we're at. So you go through adolescent children, you go through teenagers and making these crazy memories, even they don't want to. Let's talk about adult children now.
Yeah.
Ours are grown adults now. They're married, doing their own thing. What are we doing as coaches now, right? Still parents, but now moving more into coaching phase.
Yeah.
What are we doing in creating memories and family traditions? And obviously the season's kind of different for us, but so we're really hyper focused on this now. But let's talk about older families out there that have older children. Well, let's give them tools. What could they do tomorrow to begin doing something that maybe they haven't done in years?
I think a couple things. It's important to not impose your own family traditions on a new family. And you have to see your young adult family as that. It's a new family. And I think we can get so caught up in, well, we've always done this and this is what we always do. And And that's hard. And I mean, trust me, I'm like handing it over going, here, take and make your own traditions, But it's okay to still want to spend time together, but don't impose like what you've always done. If they want to do it, they might still want to do it. And those are things that you still carry on. But even with, like I said, our season unfortunately didn't change organically. Our season was like, but our older two have still changed organically. And so it's like, what breathes life into them as a couple? What can we do to make different traditions that doesn't add weight to the things that, you're wanting to do as a new family, as you're wanting to do still with the other, in-laws, and just trying to be as appeasing as you can by saying, I want to still spend time with you. If it's 2 days before, if it's 2 days after, whenever. I just want to breathe life and spend time together as a family without any restrictions. And I think that's really important, and that's really difficult, I think, for a lot of in-laws to do. And I'm trying my best.
I would encourage every family out there to understand that when your adult children get in relationships, especially marriage ones, the more that you demand of their time, the more that they're taking away from themselves as a couple.
Right.
So if I have to have you on this holiday and you need to be at my house and I need this dinner.
I need this time.
These two have left you. They are now a family.
Yeah.
They're not part of, they're part of your family, but they're their own family.
Yeah.
We've got to be now supporters and encouragers to go make your own memories, start your own traditions. And yes, if that means you're not with me on Christmas Day, guess what? I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I get to see you before, I get to see you after, because I think the more we demand these things that we've always had, and it's only to make us feel good. I just need you because I've always had you. The more we demand on it, we got to understand, we're taxing a new couple. We're making them now wrestle with the tension of, great, we want to start our own family, but now we need to go see my mom and dad, and we got to go see your mom and dad, and our parents are divorced, and I got to go see this family and this family. I got 9 families to go see, and we've created their first holiday as this mess.
Well, and the thing is, we want them to be there because they want to be.
Yeah.
We want to have a relationship with our kids, even when they're growing. We want to have time. And if they're there because they feel like they have to be, that's a different feeling, And so I know those dates, those times, and those, calendar dates can feel so important, but giving them breath and giving them room to say, yeah, we can do this date, or this date, because this is best for us. You're going to get all of them. You're going to get more of them. And that's just so much more precious, at least to me,
Absolutely.
that they want to be together and it's not a strain, I would say this too, for maybe a parent that's watching, because I've counseled other women that have walked through, that letting go process and that young adult season where you're trying to figure out those things. I've heard of families that maybe the significant other, whether you're married or whether you're dating, or aren't welcome, in the home. You get to pray over that person when you get to know them. And even if they're maybe not your favorite or not what you've prayed for or whatever, unless you build relationship with the person that is important to your young adult child or your teenage child, you don't have a lot of voice to give them guidance and to give them wisdom and to give them, just structure if they even ask for it. But it's, welcome. Your home is somewhere that everyone should feel welcome and loved, just so that you can breathe life into that other person and breathe life into that couple. It's important. I think it's really important.
Be praying for your children's spouse.
Yes.
We could talk about that for a lot.
That could be a whole new podcast.
I'll never forget when our boys were like, "You've been praying this one out, haven't you?" And you would be like, "Yep."
I didn't say it like that. No, I said I'm either praying for God. I'm praying for God's best. And if this isn't God's best, then I'm praying that this relationship doesn't last.
You're methodic, massaging of, I'm praying them out. But she said it so sweetly and eloquently that the boys were like, yes.
But to Kurt, I'd be like, I'm praying that one out. That one's got to go.
I'll never forget, total sidetrack. I'll never forget the first time we met one of them. I'm not even going to say which one. The first time one of them walked in, we spent the night. It was a great night. We go to our bedroom, oh, well, that was really nice. You shut the door and said, that's not what I've been praying for. That one's got to go. I'm like, oh, snap.
That goes back to low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit.
All around. No, I mean,
anyway,
yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
That's it. We're there.
Make the memories.
Make memories.
Do the things.
Create traditions.
Yeah.
Have fun with your family. Laugh together. Make memories that last.
Yeah.
And once again, just want to encourage you, May 6th, join us at our Marriage Intensive. Engaged to be married, been married, going to get married.
Thinking about it.
We just want to encourage you to be there. We just want to give you tools that will make you better today to live an authentic, everyday marriage. So thanks again for taking the time. We love you. We hope the best for you. We'll see you next time.
That's right. We'll see you next time.